it is about the ecosystem, and it's a home run, isn't it? It just keeps giving, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's firing on all 12 cylinders. How many tech companies can come out and raise the price of a product, which is what they're doing with Apple TV? The iPhone, I think, is the only tech product in history that's expanded its margins as it's matured. They're firing on all 12
Give us an update on the international expansion. I visited Cupertino years ago, and there was a mystery at that time of how they would do abroad. The answer is it's been better than good.
So Google and Facebook locked out of China. Apple's going to sell more iPhones in China next year than they do in the U.S. This is truly a global brand that is... What nation has Apple not become the ultimate luxury brand?
Well, we all know that Tim Cook is going to get up there and go, oh, and just one more thing, because that's what Apple does. If he doesn't do it with TV, though, and we get what we've heard about, doesn't they risk disappointment? I mean, they don't seem to be offering anything with Apple TV that you're not getting from Netflix and other providers, Roku or anything like that. So how much of Apple TV is going to be that important?
Well, look at how much innovation has been around your phone. Look at how much innovation has happened in your TV. Absolutely zero. It takes me an hour to figure out where Breaking Bad is playing on my TV. I can get the GDP of Rwanda in about 0.001 seconds. TV has been such a wasteland of innovation, and Apple is the one to liberate it. So, and I think we're all waiting, because so far Apple TV has been a bit of a disappointment relative to its other products.
You call up the screen for Apple TV, and it looks like a cable network with icons. You can't figure out what's where or what's on.
What's more, you try to program it in any way, and you're back to doing the move the cursor across, and then you have to go back. But, there's something else that Apple needs to address, and maybe iOS 9 will, and there's some talk out in the valley that they got it. Once upon a time, the thing about Apple was, quote, it just works. Tom said that a couple of his family's iPhones had broken this week. Apple, the iOS operating system, and even the Mac OS, it's beginning to become a little Windows-like. How many times has your phone just frozen, or it's just closed down on you, and it's rebooted itself? It's not quite the blue screen of death, but they've got to address the underlying functional robustness of that platform, the software platform. It's not fancy. It's not, it's not sexy consumer luxury.
Mike, I just did a photo. I'll, filter it and send it out on Twitter and Facebook. But now I'm on Periscope. I mean, this stuff didn't exist 24 months ago.
I did read the Periscope.
It's part of the ecosystem.
Build an app for Apple TV. But let me quickly ask you guys about the big iPad. That's sort of the thing off to the side in this announcement today people haven't paid a whole lot of attention to. One reason people say the iPad's not successful is everybody who wants one has one. Yeah. Can they sell it to business, as they apparently want to do?
It's probably a niche commercial, small commercial market. But what's so impressive about Apple is their willingness to cannibalize themselves. Yeah. I mean, they took the iPod, one of the most successful tech products in history, and made it a button, an icon on your iPhone. I think the iPad's going away because the MacBook is getting smaller and so much better, and our iPhones are getting so much bigger. I think basically the iPad has nowhere to hide and is going to go away, but quite frankly, I don't think it matters. The computers are great. Tom's holding an iPhone 6. This thing basically said, I got an idea. Let's take all of the wind out of Samsung sales. And this is an incredible product. Boring, just an iteration.
Okay. But then within your experience, Bill Janeway, how do you respond to they can't move the needle, they've gotten so big?
Well, that's a big, it is an issue. It is an issue, and that's where China becomes important. The television market, I agree with you that the big screen and the integration is a big problem. If they can deal with that effectively, but there, the incumbents dealing, you're getting into the cable company. Yep. The U.S. has done a remarkable job of establishing embedded duopoly in what, in the rest of the world, is a much more open market. By the way, the same thing is true in mobile. Same thing is true in mobile. There's no other country in the world where mobile is completely dominated by two players. Everywhere else, it's much more open, and there are layers of openness. Apple and Google and Facebook are riding on top of infrastructure that is embedded in very conservative monopolies with great lobbying.
Anytime you're from London over here, we got to have the two of you on. This has been fabulous. Scott Galloway, what will you listen for today in San Francisco?
I'm curious what they teased us with Siri. I think Siri so far has been, at some point the performance has to live up to the promise. I'm curious what they're going to say about Siri.
that is a really big and really hard problem. That is the hard problem because Siri is not about speech recognition. It's about understanding what you mean.
Yeah.
And that is really hard.
Do you use it, Michael McKee? Have you used Siri? I look at it and I'm like, are you kidding?
I try. I fail. I have full disclosure. I'm still on the board of Nuance Communications, which is the leader in speech recognition technology. And there are.
But you mentioned the MacBook.
Hard.
I have the little new MacBook, and again, technology.
What do you think of it?
Keyboard. It's
fantastic.
Phenomenal.
A breakthrough nobody talks about.
The keyboard. And this goes back to the processor speed today. You and I have talked many times about the arch engineering.
Great battery life, the screen, light. It's a fantastic product. This company, a march to $1 trillion. Here we come.
By the way, the play against that is ARM Holdings in Britain, which is the source of the technology design for all of those products.
Okay.